Hi, today we will continue conjugating some more verbs, and we already conjugated in present, past and future two of the most important verbs in Spanish. These are the verbs the verb ser and estar. And the previous lesson we conjugated also haber, so we have already conjugated three of the most important verbs in Spanish. And this is going to be the fourth, the verb tener. And why do I want to have these verbs taught first? Ser, estar, haber, and tener. Because these four verbs, these four Spanish verbs correspond to the two most important verbs in English, that are the verbs to be and to have. So with this one we will finish the last of these four very important verbs. We will conjugate it in presente, pasado and futuro, right? So we will see conjugación del verbo tener. Conjugación del verbo tener. Verb tener is to have, right? However, verb tener also applies to situations where in English we use a verb to feel. Why? Because when we say in Spanish, if we say I feel cold, for example, in Spanish we don't use a verb to feel, right? That would be sentir. That would be the Spanish verb to feel. We use the verb to have. We would say tengo frío, I have cold, because it refers to having the sensation of cold, right? So if we want to say tengo ganas de hacer algo, I feel like doing something, we say tengo ganas de hacer algo, verb to have. Okay? But we'll see that in the next lesson, where we'll see some examples using this verb. Now let's start with the conjugation of verb tener in present. Yo tengo, tú tienes, él tiene, or ella tiene, nosotros tenemos, vosotros tenéis, ustedes tienen, ellos tienen, right? For I have, you have, he has or she has, we have, you plural have, again you plural, you have, and they have, right? So Spanish way, Latin American way. Always take a look how ustedes and ellos, their conjugation is identical, right? Always, you see here, okay, identical. Tienen and tienen, van a tener, van a tener. Let's go to the past. Yo tuve, I had. Tú tuviste, él tuvo, or ella tuvo. Nosotros tuvimos, vosotros tuvisteis, ustedes tuvieron, and ellos tuvieron, for they had. Now, future tense, the one that is more similar to English. Yo voy a tener. Tú vas a tener. Él va a tener, or ella va a tener. Nosotros vamos a tener. Vosotros vais a tener. ustedes van a tener, and ellos van a tener. See how simple, how easy it is to conjugate in the future using this form, right? It's as easy as it is in English, right? So for English, conjugation of the future, we just take the word will and then add the verb in infinitive that we want to conjugate, right? For example, I want to conjugate the verb to like into future tense. I will like, he will like, right? Same thing here. This remains always the same for whatever verb you want to conjugate, right? This will always remain the same. And you only add the verb in infinitive that you want to conjugate. In this case, it is the verb tener, to have. Right? So easy. And the typical future tense, the typical conjugation of future in Spanish. Yo tendré. Tú tendrás. Él tendrá. Or ella tendrá. Nosotros tendremos. Vosotros tendréis. Ustedes tendrán. Ellos tendrán. Okay? So, this and this these are identical, right? Different ways of conjugating the future, and they mean exactly the same. So, this is all for today's lesson, and next time I will show you some sentences where we will use these conjugations, right, so we can see how they are applied into real life sentences, okay? So I see you in our next lesson. Goodbye.